This, Adam, is some of the deepest talent I have seen on a cross-country list in a very, very long time. Let's break it down. U20 men, the athletes to watch include, of course, Brody Clark. He is probably the one to beat, although every time I say that, I seem to be proven wrong because there is just so much excitement and talent in this category. Brody Clark is coming off of a fantastic track season. He's going to be in good company, though. He is running for the Edge Athletic Club. He was the OFSA champion, also won in 2023. He was 11th last year. He's running up an age group here. He could still be a U18 if he wanted to, but he was the U18 11th place last year. That being said, he is coming off a fantastic fall. He won the McQuaid Invitational in Rochester, New York, set a new course record there this fall. I've run that meet, Adam. All kinds of Olympians have gone through that course. So for him to not only win but set a new course record is a big deal. Robin Lefebvre became one of only 5 U20 athletes in Canada to break the 4-minute mark in the mile earlier this season. He was the winner of the New Balance Nationals Indoor Championships earlier this year. A fantastic middle distance runner. He is going to be in strong contention if he's with the leaders in that last loop. Chase Capes, coming off of an OFSA cross-country senior second place, just 6 seconds behind Brody Clark as the winner. He was 8th in the U16 race last year at these championships. He's running up 2 age groups here, trying to make that U20 championship team for the World Cross Country Championships. I mean, we could go on and on. We'll talk more about them as we go into the race, but the team title, the individual title, the positions on the team, again, it is so exciting to see so many competitors vying for that position on the World Cross Country Championship team. And part of the reason I think, Adam, that we're seeing that is that this is an interesting year. This is the first time that we have a full quadrennial. We had COVID interrupt things in 2020 into 2021. We have not had a year where we don't have an outdoor championship team by way of the World Championships or the Olympics since that quadrennial from 2016 to 2020. This year we have the Commonwealth Games outdoors, but we have so many strong competitors trying to make the team for the World Cross Country Championships, which, by the way, are being held in North America for the first time since 1992.
92 athletes scheduled to take part in this U20 men's race, and there is the gun. We are underway, 4 laps of the 2-kilometer route here in London.
I didn't hear the gun. Okay.
Well, I mentioned a few of the athletes to keep an eye on. Another one is Daniel Kova out of the Ottawa Lions. He was second at the Canadian U20 5,000 meter championships earlier this year. He was also the OFSA cross-country senior champion last year. He's in his first year at Iona University in New York City, so he's got that NCAA experience behind him. We should expect to see him up near the lead. Oliver Crow, another athlete out of Edge Athletics, they are seeking a team title. He was 6th at the OFSA Cross Country Championships for the senior boys. He was the Athletics Ontario Cross Country U20 champion earlier this year. And this is another race, Adam, where we were asked to, come up with our top 5, and we said, can we give you a 10? Because it is so deep that there are so many athletes who could be vying for top spots.
This is the 5th race of the day, and the course looks like it's holding up okay. Haven't really seen a whole lot of really muddy spots develop.
Well, as the temperatures continue to warm, I think that we may see a little bit more of that muckiness coming into play for the senior races. Again, I love that. I love true cross country. I think that a golf course is not always the right place to do it, but this one at least has some good ups and downs.
And that is Xavier St. Onge leading things early on in this U20 race.
So St. Onge, a contingent out of Call. He was the Canadian cross-country champion for the college competition earlier this year. Last year he was 10th in the U20 race.
But look just at the mass behind him. This is still very, very tight. Again, 92 competitors scheduled to take part in this race, and it looks like they're all still right there.
Well, Adam, this is interesting. St. Onge really taking to the front in an aggressive way. We haven't seen this from many of the other races. And I would have expected that this would play out a little bit like a cat and mouse track race. When you know you're trying to qualify for something, you hold back a little bit. You hedge your bets because you don't want to play your cards too early. Sometimes you can take risks in the younger age categories when there isn't a world cross-country berth on the line. In this case, there is. So you want to just feel each other out, spend as much time as possible testing your competitors before you make your move. In the form of St. Onge, he is just going for it, and I love to see it. I love this kind of aggression from the front. He's clearly rounding into great form. He feels confident. He and his coach would have had a fabulous plan in place, and he's executing really well.
Well, now the question becomes, can St. Onge hang on? Still lots of racing to go here. They're in the opening lap. They are through 1K of 8, well, maybe 1.5 kilometers. As you can keep tabs on the course tracker at the bottom of the screen.
St. Onge was 10th last year in the U20 race, as I mentioned, so looking to upgrade that significantly this year, running for Jacques Athletisme. And that's just enough of a gap. Again, we're approaching the hills. Bold running, you're running by yourself, you're running a little bit blind. You don't know where the competition is behind you. Look at that massive pack, to your point, Adam. People are moving from right to left, trying to just navigate the width of the course, finding their footing. But St. Onge up front clearly feeling really confident and looking to put the task to the rest of the field to try to stay with him.
Well, one of those in the chase pack right now is Alex Lineweber from London Western Track and Field Club. So this a home race for him. He was 4th at the Athletics Ontario Cross Country Championships. He was 30th in this race a year ago, but it was the London Western team taking the victory on the team side. But that lead at
Adam,
the front is just building now for St. Onge.
It really is, and I was going to say that's a fabulous set of running for him because this is not his home course. You mentioned Lineweber. I think that home course advantage really counts for so much, particularly in cross country where the team title is of extraordinary importance. So when you know every inch of that course, you better believe that those London Western guys and gals have done loops on loops on loops on this course. They know every 500-meter marking. They know the ups, the downs. They know where to, throw in a surge. So hometown advantage, a big deal here. But the Quebec athlete, St. Onge, look at that lead he has developed. That is unheard of in early days in this 4-loop course.
It's about a 6.5-second lead for St. Onge through the opening lap. Lineweber 2nd through the 2K mark. But quite a few athletes in the 6:17 range. Lineweber, Gaffney, Curry, Kametz, Scharf, and capes.
Well, you just mentioned a number of names who are running up that age group. We said this in the U18 category, I should say. All three of our top performers from last year in the U18 category running up to the U20 this year. They could have all returned. They chose not to. And again, much of that is in service both of team championship titles, but also a berth on that World Cross Country team. So that is a bold and big choice by each of those athletes. Kometz, Scharf, I believe you said Tamori as well. There is a number who are really showing their mettle here.
Now, if you're St. Onge right now, what's going through your head? You've opened up this big lead early on. But again, there is still lots to come in this race.
I think this is a really smart move. I think that he is probably banking on the fact that the pack has let him go at this point. The race is on for silver. Even if he gets chewed up, even if they come back to him, I mean, it's kind of like cycling, right? The peloton escapes, and then there's someone who does a breakaway. And then the peloton tries to catch the breakaway. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. There's a peloton building behind him right now who are all, working together in service of that title. That being said, look at the gap. And if he can hold on, he's either going to come away with the victory, or unless he completely blows up, if that pack catches up with him, even over the back half of this race, he will have established so much work in front of him, or behind him, I should say, that he'll still likely be in that top 10 that could contend for a spot on the World Cross Country team. Adam, earlier you mentioned a few other athletes that we should make note of, one of them being Travis Gaffney. He was the champion in the 3,000 meter in OFSA in 2024. He was second in the 1,500. He had a really great year last year. Canadian indoor U20 3,000 meter champion. He was 27th on this course last year, but has certainly had a really good year. Competes for Bradley University down south in the NCAA. It's part of that chase pack, as we see on bottom of screen, the athletes navigating those hay bales. But again, the lead, extraordinary. This is the biggest margin of advantage that we've seen in any race so far today by a long shot, Adam.
We've seen the previous men's races of the day be very close towards the end. It was Nemanja Bernier just holding off for the victory in the U16 boys race. And then Kenny Champ, well, he also held off a late charge to take the victory in the U18 boys race. So this U20 men's race, at least for now, not playing out the way we've seen the other races go for the boys today.
Well, again, one of the deeper fields of the entire day is this U20 men's race. You see that charge coming from behind. I mean, it's sort of the quiet storm approaching our leader. He's running blind. He's got a huge advantage over the rest of the field. But Adam, there's still a lot of running to go. They've got 8K to contend with here. They're not even through halfway yet, and we see about 10 strong in that chase pack. This is a really difficult position to be in up front. You have to be very confident, very strong, and just completely focused on what's in front of you. As soon as we see him starting to do some shoulder checks, that's going to be my indication that there's, again, a little chink in the armor, a little bit of concern about his, strength. But he is totally focused up front right now. Arm carriage low, turnover high. That's what we want to see. He looks great.
Well, it is the St. Onge show as he's getting close to the halfway mark of this 8K race. This is the U20 men's event at the 2025 Canadian Canadian Cross Country Championships.
You know, Adam, something that's worth stating here is that St. Onge was the Canadian College Athletics Association cross-country champion. And I know we talk a lot about youth sports, rightfully so. That's the university branch of our college-university split. But the collegiate champion for Dynamique de Cégep Sainte-Foy is Xavier St. Onge. To win that championship is a big deal. There are some very, very strong competitors in that category. So, you know, he's coming off of a really strong performance within his collegiate championships. Again, 10th last year in the U20 category at the Canadian Cross Country Championships. He knows the course, he knows the competition, has a couple of accolades to his name in the 3,000 and 5,000 on the track when it comes to the Canadian Championships. So he's got the speed of the track, the strength of the cross-country course, and he's really experienced. So in some ways, this is probably the smartest move for him. He is, again, the pack has let him go. If they come back on him, unless he bonks, the worst he could do is just be swallowed up by them and hopefully place within that top 10 to try to vie for a position on the World Cross Country stage. But I think this is a really, really smart, strong run by St. Onge.
Well, he increased his lead on that second lap. He had a advantage of 6.3 seconds on the chase pack through 2K. He worked it up to 10.4 seconds through 4K. So St. Onge just getting stronger as this race moves along.
And this is what I like to see. Every time there's a little shift in terrain, he navigates it really well. Look at the focus. No sort of shoulder checks, nothing happening behind him. Arm carriage low, turnover high, as I said. He just is dialed in. He was 10th last year in this race. So again, we're seeing some of the development, especially on the men's side, the young men's side, when they move from, you know, being a 17-year-old into an 18-year-old or an 18-year-old into a 19-year-old. That can make a big difference. And that's clearly doing so for Xavier St. Onge. 10th last year, looking to put himself on the podium this year, and some really good turnover happening behind him as well. We see Brody Clark, the aforementioned OFSA superstar, in second, and then William Scharf, and both Clark and Scharf running up an age group. They could be in the U18, but they are doing that in service, again, of their team and trying to make a stance on that World Cross Country team.
Well, speaking of teams, it is the University of Ontario track team with the edge right now as the live team scores are being tabulated. So William Scharf, third through 4K, so that's the best score right now for the U of T track team. They also have Matthew Kometz, who came through 4K in 7th spot. So we'll keep an eye on those scores as well. But in the individual race, it continues to be Xavier St. Onge running by himself, which he has done pretty much throughout this race.
And he has at least a 10-second advantage. It may be closer to 15 on the rest of the field. Hard to judge, but I was just sort of counting there when he made the turn. And this is, again, brilliant, brave running up front by Xavier St. Onge. William Scharf, you mentioned, in the mix as well for UTTC. Third at the OFSA Cross Country Championships in that senior boys category. He was 6th at the Canadian U20 1,500 meter championships. And the Ontario Cross Country victor just a couple of weeks ago. So Scharf definitely making his way up the field, again, in a race that is 2 kilometers and two age years beyond what he could be running if he were in his own age group.
His lead at 4 kilometers was 10.4 seconds, and we will soon see what it is at 6 kilometers.
And you know what? I think St. Onge has just not broken rank a single step of this race. He has been dialed in, focused, head down. He's not looked behind him. You know, as a runner, you want your gaze to be focused about 45 degrees in front of you. You want it to just be, 3 to 4 steps ahead of where you're running. That indicates that you're tall, you're long, you're, holding good form. He navigates that hill really well. His turnover has remained incredibly high. I am so impressed by this runner right now. And again, this is the biggest breakaway we've seen of any of the races so far at ACXC 2025.
As it stands right now, the real fight is on for second place. So we will get that 6K split soon. So St. Onge through an 18:28.3. That last lap 6:12.5 for him. And now we will see what the chase pack is coming through at. Scharf leading that chase pack, 18:39 flat. So the lead is about 10.7 seconds. So he has maintained that 10-second advantage.
Well, there's a great shot to top of screen about how far ahead our leader is, St. Onge, on the rest of the field. And again, he has not shown a single moment of hesitation or fatigue. This is extraordinary running. We're into our final loop. We've got less than 2K to go. But that chase pack is what I'm also really interested in, Adam, with Scharf and Clark in the mix. So they have a lot of experience running against each other in Ontario. Clark, the OFSA cross-country champion, he also won last year. William Scharf was third this year, but he was the Athletics Ontario champion. He was sixth in this, he was sixth in the 1500 meter last year, I should say. So again, Scharf, a strong hold in second. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see him ahead of Clark. Clark, again, such a strong cross-country and distance running competitor. He's headed to Wake Forest in the fall as part of that NCAA program in North Carolina. I would expect him to be a little bit higher up, but it has been a very long and I'm sure tiring season for Clark. St. Onge holding that spot as the lead, but Scharf and Clark would do well to work together over this final lap to try to make inroads.
On the team front through 6 kilometers, it is the University of Regina who has moved to the top of the pack. They have a score of 91 through those 6 kilometers, but right there too are the St. John Reds, 94 for them. Then the University of Toronto Track Club at 98 points, but again, still so much to be decided there, as is what is to come in the individual race. But Xavier St. Onge, he got out to a lead early. He got out to a big lead early, and he has maintained that here into this final lap where, barring, well, quite frankly, disaster or something really, really special from a member of the trailing group, it's really a battle on now for second place.
Well, I agree. Barring disaster or something incredibly special. Well said, Adam. This is St. Onge's race to lose, and what a run it has been. Again, 10th last year. Big, big improvement over the last 12 months to put himself in contention. And you know what? Even if someone were on his heels right now, even if he doesn't win, this shows a sign of incredible maturity, incredible growth as an athlete to have the confidence to front run by this margin. and he is into the final 400 meters, 300 meters. He is absolutely going to take this title unless he falls down. And it has been an extraordinary improvement on last year's performance, and he is set, if he wants to make that U20 Canadian team competing at the World Championships in March.
Well, now we're seeing some mud develop on the inside here of this straightaway, so St. Onge is going to maintain his line on the less muddy part of this course.
And Adam, that is really strong and smart again on his part. This is the advantage of being the front runner. You have a clear line of sight. You can navigate where you're going to step. That mud is going to increase throughout the day. We've already seen that happen, especially into these closing meters where you're most fatigued, you're most likely to slip, to go down. It is really smart of him to choose the least muddy, safest section of the course, and he can do that with confidence and with a clear eye line. And again, what's so impressive for me, Adam, is he has not looked back once. This is amazing. He's just dialed in. He knows he is getting probably some feedback from the outside spectators on the outside of the course. Final hill to navigate, but he has not broken his eyesight on the line in front of him or his form throughout the entirety of this race. And in fact, the chase pack is shortening that gap back. They're not going to catch him, but they are, decreasing the distance between him and the rest of the field. And yet he is so steadfastly confident that he is not paying attention to anything other than the task at hand.
Well, this has been nothing short of an absolute masterclass from St. Onge. Gets out to a significant lead early, and then we wondered, is he going to be able to hang on to it? Well, not only did he hang on to it, he improved upon it. Now, the chasers are appearing to eat into some of his advantage, but too late into this race to really be a factor now are the chasers.
Adam, he is increasing his tempo. The turnover is picking up. The arm carriage is strong now. This is the fastest we've seen him run of the entirety of the race. He is going to take home a gold medal in absolutely fabulous style.
Xavier St. Onge, a dominant performance here in the U20 men's race. The battle on now for the silver. St. Onge can take it all in. He is the Canadian champion, and here comes the battle for silver, and it's going to go to Robin Lefebvre. Chase Capes will pick up the bronze.
What a run, Adam. That was a fabulous performance, like I said, by Xavier St. Onge. Anytime you have time to not only put your arms out, but also flex the guns across the line, that is a good freaking day, and well done by Xavier St. Onge out of the Laval contingent to take top marks, improving on his 10th place finish from last year. Robin Lefebvre, my goodness, can this guy do any wrong? He is a fantastic miler. He's a fantastic track runner. He's a great road runner, and now he has proven himself yet again as a tremendous cross-country competitor. Absolutely strong, speedy, and gutsy is Lefebvre. Well done by him. Chase Capes, an enormous improvement for the Sarnia Athletics South athlete from last year's finish. But again, he's been proving himself time and time again. Second at the OFSA Cross Country Championships behind Brody Clark. He was 8th last year. He's a bronze medalist this year. This was really setting the stage for how exciting the senior races are yet to come. But my goodness, this men's U20 competition just keeps turning up time and time and time again.
And we'll keep our eyes on the team scores, but right now, St. Onge's call team looking very strong. They've got three athletes across now, but now the University of Regina has bumped up. They've got 4 across the line. And as it stands right now, of course, this unofficial, but they are sitting at 100 points, led by Ian Teichler's 7th place finish. And looking at St. Onge's finishing time, 24:55.3. So the chase back did eat into his advantage, but St. Onge got up to such a big advantage in the end, it didn't matter. He led by about 10.7 seconds through 6 kilometers. In the end, he wins by 2.8. Lefebvre taking the silver, and then Chase capes the bronze. Good battle to the line between Lefebvre and Capes.
It's hard to keep all of these names in our mouths, eh, Adam? Like, there's just so many fantastic performers who are turning up at the right time here. Again, we were tasked with creating a top 5 list, and I made that about 10 or 12 because it was just so hard to narrow down who might be in that top competitive field. But you see these athletes still, so many decorated provincial and Canadian competitors coming across the line now into the 20s, 30s, 40s. Again, all vying for those team titles. And we still have 6 Olympians yet to come in our open and senior races, Adam.
And looking at the team titles again, the University of Regina team leading the way right now with a score of 100. The St. John Reds not far back in second at 103. And then the University of Toronto Track Club holding down third right now at, well, there's been some movement now. Right now they've got 114 for the University of Toronto Track Club. But again, still a lot of moving parts because they have to go through and determine the places of all the competitors. And a lot of times you have several competitors coming across the line in quick succession. So these scores could change. So right now the St. John Reds move into the lead with an impressive score of 72. And the University of Regina now at 103. University of Toronto Track Club at 117.
So no. Ooh.
Well, we knew it was going to be a stacked race, and it did not disappoint. What a fabulous set of results and a an enormous piece of running here up front by Saint-Onge to take the win here at the U20 championships. Right from the gun, he separated from the pack and did not look back. Just kept pressing and pressing and pressing and came away with an enormous improvement on his 10th place finish last year, navigating every turn. I think, Adam, that might have been the only place that we saw a little look back, and it wasn't even that. Over the hay bales with ease on every single lap. Xavier Saint-Onge comes across for the victory at the ACXC U20 race. Arms out, arms up, guns out, suns out. What a day for cross-country running. Enormous finish behind him for the second place position by Robin Lefebvre. But this is really setting the tone for what's going to happen in our open races yet to come.
So Saint-Onge takes the win in 24:55.3. Lefebvre the silver 24:58.1, and capes the bronze 24:59. Flat on the team side, the St. John Reds in top spot with 70 points. The University of Regina second at 103. And then the University of Toronto Track Club in third with 117 points, and very close there between third and fourth. Let's go down and hear from the champ, Xavier Saint-Onge.
Xavier Saint-Onge, notre champion U20. Xavier, tu t'étais échappé dès le début. Est-ce que c'était ça ta stratégie? Puis aussi, étais-tu surpris de personne qui est allé avec toi?
Au début, c'était pas ma stratégie. Si ça partait vite, c'est au deuxième, troisième kilomètre de peut-être faire une attaque. Puis si c'était lent, ben, de partir peut-être devant. Donc dans le fond, c'est un peu ma stratégie, mais je ne m'attendais pas à que je sois devant dès le début puis qu'il n'y ait personne qui me suive vraiment. Que j'ai une si grande avance.
Au 6e kilomètre, qu'est-ce que tu t'es dit quand tu as constaté que ça va être moi puis la ligne d'arrivée à cette heure?
Je me suis dit de croire en moi, de tout donner, pas regarder le moins possible derrière pour voir les autres, mais focus puis finir fort.
Puis comment est-ce que était le parcours? Maintenant, on est rendu peut-être à 2/3 de la journée, il y a beaucoup plus de boue. Est-ce que c'était glissant?
C'était glissant à certains endroits, mais quand même assez tapé. C'était pas si pire. J'ai bien aimé. C'était assez roulant, pour vrai. Ouais.
Puis tu évolues avec Sainte-Foy de la saison régulière. Qu'est-ce que tu as fait de ton entraînement pour s'assurer que tu puisses arriver à ce championnat en bonne forme comme ça?
Je fais, en fin de saison, puis les derniers 2-3 semaines, j'ai pas vraiment fait d'entraînement extérieur. J'ai plus fait vitesse, pace 5000 à peu près à l'intérieur au centre de glace à Québec, chez nous. Mais c'est ça, pas vraiment d'entraînement extérieur.
C'est quoi la prochaine chose pour toi?
Prochaine chose, là je tombe en pause pendant une semaine, 2 semaines. Puis après, courir à l'intérieur, indoor peut-être à McGill et Boston, quelques courses.
So Xavier Saint-Onge, his first championship, finished 10th last year, came back with the storm. They call it fade from the front, except Xavier never faded. He had first place from the start all the way to the finish. He's had some consistent training, and next up for him is indoor. Xavier, félicitations.
Merci beaucoup.
Incredible upgrade from 10th to 1st for Xavier. Well done, Monsieur Saint-Onge. Félicitations. An incredible set of running there in our U20 race on the men's side. We have our open races, used to be called senior, coming up with 6 Olympians set to take to this course over 10 kilometers, Adam.
It'll be the women's race to lead us off there, and we'll have it for